Upon its release in May 2011, Judd Apatow's Bridesmaids became a commercial and critical smash. The film would go on to earn more than $300 million at the worldwide box office. Nearly 15 years later, it remains the highest-grossing Apatow picture, and received a Golden Globe nomination for Best Comedy Film and 2 Oscar nominations for Best Supporting Actress and Best Original Screenplay. That script, by Kristen, Wiig, and Annie Mumolo, is a big part of the film's success, a hilarious yet insightful exploration of women's friendships, class divides, and midlife crises. So join us as the GPCD Players put on our Fritz Bernaise designs and attempt to determine the best Bridesmaids movie quote. I do not appreciate Annie's mom publicly sharing my life story about blowjobbing for crack. I'm your host, Eric Rezsnyak. Please welcome my panelists for this episode, who are showing their eternal love faces like Kahlua. You really can't trust anyone. In fact, our first panelist might not even be Asian. Please welcome Jake Pitochelli.
No, Eric, it's true. I'm actually Italian. And I'm also a power top.
Ugh, don't I know it. I would just like to get through one episode recording without you entering me, Jake. Next, the only reason he wants to get married is to have Wilson Phillips play at the reception. It's Jonny Minogue.
I just need to hold on for one more day, and things will go my way.
Is that the last stunt, Johnny? Is that it?
That's it. Well, actually, I'm even wearing it, too.
There you go. He does love Wilson Phillips, actually. That is true. Finally, he greets his gentleman in the evening, Beaver first. It's Kevin Dillon.
At least you're not that whore bar, Eric.
Actually, spoiler, I might be, but I'm so glad you're here, Kevin. They just put Castaway on the Netflix. It's got Tom Hanks. You'll love it. Up in the producer booth, we have Curtis Creekmore, who just got a tattoo of a Mexican drinking worm from a guy in a van. If you're curious about how we ended up with this Sweet 16, become a Patreon supporter of the podcast, or listen to the 3-minute preview available wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget, you can head to this episode on greatpopculturedebate.com and find the listener bracket so you can play along with us at home. While you're there, check out some of our other Best Quote episodes, including Best Mean Girls Quote, Best Drop Dead Gorgeous Quote, and Best Clue Quote. And with that out of the way, let's get into these debates before the lunch we ate at the Brazilian steakhouse comes back to haunt us. And as this is a quote episode, we hope you'll indulge our panelists as they act out the quotes in this return of the GPCD Players. First up, it's a unanimous victory for Rita's explanation of what it's like to raise 3 boys, which proves stiff competition, much like a semen-covered towel, for Annie's on-court encouragement for tennis partner Carol. Johnny will voice Lillian, Jake will voice Annie, and I will be Rita. Annie, I haven't seen you since you graduated high school.
She has 3 kids now.
3 boys.
So cute.
They are cute, but when they reach that age, they're disgusting. They smell, they're sticky, they say things that are horrible, and there is semen all over everything. They're disgusting. I cracked a blanket in half. Do you get where I'm going with that? All right, versus Kevin, please serve us up your best competitive Annie on the tennis court.
Come on, Carol. Get your shit together, Carol.
All right, so it is Rita's Boys Are Disgusting rant, which will be moving directly into round 2. But that Carol moment, Carol doesn't even say a fucking word in this movie. Am I correct? She says nothing.
Nothing. Not one sentence.
I don't know if she gets hit in the tit with a ball the way that Helen and Annie do, but she's just eviscerated by Annie on the court.
Why am I blanking on the actress's name? Because she was on Saturday Night Live. And then the other person is Steve Carell's wife.
Correct, yes.
And I can never remember either of their names. But
Nancy something is Steve Carell's wife.
Yep.
Yeah, Walls maybe? I don't know.
No, but they're both so funny. Funny actresses, and without saying lines, they're incredible. Their physical comedy in that scene is so good. And that I hear people say that all the time. Come on, Carol, get your shit together, Carol.
Johnny, you want to say something?
It's Melanie Hustle.
Melanie Hustle, thank you very much. It's a great moment. It's a great line, but unfortunately, I'm never going to say no to a semen-covered towel or blanket, so we're going to move that into round 2. Next, the majority of the panel is booking an appointment with Lillian to get a very specific treatment, but Kevin wants to get back to the continent with his pick. Johnny, play Annie, and Jake, please be Lillian in our first scene.
It's all her fault. It's not mine. You would know that if you got your beautiful haired head out of your asshole. In fact, out of her asshole, which I'm sure is perfectly bleached.
It is! You know how I know? Because I went to the fucking salon with her, and I got my asshole bleached too, and I love my new asshole!
Wonderful job. All right, next, I will play Lillian at her bridal shower while Kevin portrays an enraged Annie. Kevin, please go first.
Are you fucking kidding me? Motherfucking Paris.
Annie, what are you doing?
I told you she wanted to go to Paris. I told you Paris. I told you about all this stuff.
Annie, calm down.
No. What? You're going to Paris with Helen now? Are you going to ride around on bikes with berets and fucking baguettes in the basket in the front of your bikes? How romantic. What woman gives another woman a trip to Paris? Am I right? Lesbian. We're all thinking it, aren't we?
All right, so it's I love my new asshole versus what woman gives another woman a trip to Paris? Lesbians. Kevin, tell us why you'll always have Paris. Jake, brighten up Butthole's chances. Kevin, please go first.
Yeah, I know I'm on the ropes a little bit with this one, but I will say this. One of my metrics or rubrics for this is like how much I say this in my daily life. And so for me, I talked about bleached assholes before this movie. And so, this isn't why I talk about, and I think that's a great line. I think it's such a funny line. They're actually in similar moments in the movie. They're in the same scene. And so they're both very funny moments at this bridal shower, but I say the lesbian joke all the time. Like, I say, what woman gives another woman a trip to Paris? A lesbian. Like, I say that all the time. It's just one of those funny moments in the movie that I just love her rant. I would do the same thing as well. That is something I could see myself doing.
Yes, actually, I could do that too.
I have a little bit of Annie in me. What can I say? But I think, again, my benchmark and my rubric is something that I quote more regularly in daily life, which is why I went with lesbian. I love lesbians.
They get shit done.
They sure do.
This was a 3-1. I do want to see, Johnny, has he swayed you, or are you sticking with bleached buttholes?
Call me Lydia, because I'm staying with my butthole.
Yes, I love that. Jake, are you sticking with bleached buttholes?
As much as I love lesbians, I am holding space for bleached buttholes today.
Thank you. And I'm holding on to your nail while we're holding space. So, but I would never put that into my bleached butthole because that's how we end up in the emergency room again. So we will be moving bleached butthole into the next round. Next, another unanimous decision as Bryn's insistent invitation to Annie will move directly into round 2, meaning that Megan's off-screen prank will be detained by security. Johnny, please play Bryn.
We would like to invite you to no longer live with us anymore.
Thank you very much. Kevin, please be our Annie, setting up Jake as Megan.
What's so funny?
I put a loaded gun in Dougie's carry-on. TSA is gonna rip his ass apart.
So, we would like to invite you to no longer live with us. We'll continue into the next round, but I have to say I've seen some very hot TSA agents, and so I might try that trick on my next flight to see what happens with the TSA. You know what?
There's not that many regulations anymore, Eric.
No.
You might get through.
God knows, I could be part of the cabinet now. Next, another unanimous victory, this time in favor of Megan's unorthodox suggestion for the bridal shower activity, meaning that Lillian's totally valid plea was left disrespected. Kevin, start us off as Lillian.
Why can't you just be happy for me and then go home and talk behind my back like a normal person?
I say it all the time. Now, Johnny, play perfectly perky Becca while I go blasting as Megan. Johnny, please go first.
What about a Pixar-themed shower? We can all come dressed as our favorite Pixar character.
Yeah, and I'll just snowball on top of that. Also, Fight Club. Female Fight Club. We grease up, we pull in. Lillian doesn't know, so it's surprise, we're gonna fight. We beat the shit out of her. She's not gonna forget that. So it's Female Fight Club, which will be advancing into round 2. Next, in our first split decision of the bracket, half of the panelists identify with Annie's economic stresses, while the other half sympathizes with Annie's mom's loneliness. Kevin, play Helen. Jake, take on the female flight attendant, and I will voice Annie.
She can have my seat. Everyone should experience first class in their lives. And I don't want Annie to miss out just because she couldn't afford a ticket.
I'm afraid that's not allowed, ma'am.
Help me, I'm poor. Next, Johnny portray Annie's mom, Judy, while Jake plays Annie herself. Johnny, please go first. Yep.
Oh, honey, don't talk to me about being by yourself. I go everywhere by myself, thanks to that new whore, Barb.
Mom, come on. They've been married 12 years.
Okay, but she's still a whore. I'm sure she greets him in the evening beaver first.
I love that you give... What's the name of Katya's dumpster character?
I don't know.
I can't remember her name. It's like Katya's Boston dumpster girl, and that's exactly who you're channeling, or were you going for someone else?
No, I was just kind of going for grizzled little bitch, and well, I am facing out towards an alley in Boston, so I guess I could be a Boston dumpster girl. So
Yeah. I think, you know what? I see that as a beautiful future for you. But great job. It's Help Me, I'm Poor versus Beaver first. Johnny, why should we leave it to Beaver? I'll argue why. Bitch better have my money. Johnny, why don't you go first?
I think we need to give Judy some love. Jill Clayburgh in her final film role, like before her. Well, actually, this was released posthumously, but her mother, Annie's mother, was just. She was just this little bit of insanity, but was almost like at the tail end of like a person's life. So she was feeling like Annie, but has already gone through everything. And no matter what happens, I'm still 9 years old. Every time I hear the word beaver, I just burst into laughter. And so this is not going to change. And especially with our friend Judy, one of her last things that she ever said on film was beaver. And yes, it is for that part of the lady, even if some people, Hormona Lisa, didn't know that that's what it was for. So I just think she just is a segment of the movie that doesn't get enough love, and I feel like she really was a standout character in and of itself, even though she had such a little part, and this kind of encapsulates herself. So come on, Judy, let's go in Beaver first to the next round.
That's how you keep a man, by the way, ladies. It's you got to go Beaver first. So for me, similar to Kevin, my decisions were largely based on which lines do I use. I use "Help me, I'm poor" all the time. Like it doesn't matter. All the time, no matter where I am, I'm dropping that one with exactly that, like, "Help me, I'm poor" delivery. Even if I happen to be flush at the time, I'm still going to use it. Jake, where are you on this one? Is it going to be Beaver first or poor?
No, I'm sticking with the beaver, and just shout out again to Annie's mom, Judy. She is a very underrated character, and I love when we first are introduced to her. She is painting caricatures of celebrities, specifically Winona Judd, who she wishes she could keep her damn mouth shut. And I also love the line towards the end when Annie is living with her, and she's like, I'm going to make you a tuna fish sandwich. And she's like, Mom, it's 8 a.m. She's like, put some syrup on it.
And I love that all of her portraits have that same horrifying rictus grin. All of them. It's awful. Kevin, where are you on this one? Is it going to be Beaver first, or is it going to be poor?
I have to go with things that I actually hear people quote. And I even use the Beaver first as my intro line. I think it's a great and funny moment in the movie. But I always want to point this out. I remember many years ago, y'all know FAFSA. We file a FAFSA to get our federal student aid. FAFSA tweeted, "Help me, I'm poor." And people were like, "Did you really just do that?" And like, for me, I will never forget that iconic moment on Twitter. It was when Twitter was good and not
a fascist hellscape.
Yeah, and it was one of those. It is such an iconic moment in that movie that I like. It's retroactively something again that I hear people say all the time. You know what it's a reference to. It's just such a good quote. It's so funny.
Johnny, would you like to retittle that retittle?
Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to switch my vote because even though I argued for it, I think Stove, thank you, Stove. I work in financial aid, and I know that there was some sassy queen working at Federal Student Aid in Washington who was like, let's do that. Let's make it viral. So for that sassy bitch at FSA, I'm switching the vote. Help me, I'm poor.
The gay social media intern was running the account. We need to get rid of toxic in the community. All right, so Help Me, I'm Poor will continue into round two. One final unanimous pick from the panelists in round one, as Megan's intense reaction to Brazilian meats will flow like lava into the Elite Eight, meaning that Becca's Cinderella story is a goner. I will play a drunk Rita while Kevin plays a supportive Becca. I don't want you to be a big fuck-up like me.
How do you think I feel?
You can still turn it around.
Stop it. You're more beautiful than Cinderella. You smell like pine needles and you have a face like sunshine.
You can hear your gritted teeth even in that delivery. She's like, Jake, sit on that sink and summon the spirit of Megan while Johnny unloads his Becca. Jake, please go first.
What do we eat? This thing's a goner.
What are you doing?
It's coming out of me like lava. Don't fucking look at me.
One thing about it, it's not captured in these quotes, because really it's a whole physical sight gag scene, right? Is that Rita's already in the toilet throwing up, and then Becca comes on after and throws up all over Rita's head in the toilet. It's terrific. It's amazing. So It's Coming Out of Me Like Lava is in the Elite Eight. Another even split, this time between Megan quotes. Half the panelists have got Wood for a party guest, while the others want to know all of Megan's secrets. Kevin, please play Annie. And Jonny, you're Megan. Kevin goes first.
No, Megan, I'm not with him.
All right, I'm glad he's single because I'm going to climb that like a tree.
Next, Jake, you are Megan, and I'll be a bewildered Annie. Jake, go for it.
I think you're ready to hear a little story about a girl named Megan who didn't have a very good time in high school. I'm referring to myself when I say Megan. It's me, Megan. I know you look at me now and say, boy, she must have breezed through high school. Not the case, Annie. This was not easy going up and down the halls with. They used to try and blow me up. People threw firecrackers on my head in high school. Firecrackers, literally, not figuratively. They called me a freak. And do you think I let that stop me? Do you think I went home crying to my mommy? Oh, I don't have any friends. I did not. You know what I did? I pulled myself together. I studied hard. I read every book in the library. And now I work for the government and I have the highest possible security clearance. Don't repeat that. I cannot protect you. I know where all the nukes are and I know the codes.
I won't say anything.
You would be amazed. A lot of shopping malls. Don't repeat that.
So it's I'm going to climb him like a tree versus I know where all the nukes are and I know the codes. Jonny, why do you want to mingle with the singles? Jake, tell us why the nuke joke is the bomb. Jonny, go first.
Megan, I think Megan gave the best quotes in the entire movie. She is my favorite character. She embodies just like this unleashed, unforgiving person. She has no fucks about who she is. She is completely 100% her. This quote kind of introduces you to her, of her overall intense sexuality, and she will fuck anybody. And the man she was talking about in that scene wasn't that cute, but you know what? Megan didn't really have that much standard. She wanted what she wanted, and you could see that from the beginning till the very end when she was feeding some sandwich to that TSA agent. And I mean, come on. I don't think that there is really a bad Megan quote. I think anything on here that is Megan should be picked, even though these are two Megan quotes against each other. I just think this is a great quote to just first to get to know who she is and go, I know her. I've seen her. I might have been her once. So.
Amen to that. The big bear sandwich. Also, the funny thing about this joke is this is the second time in that scene where someone's like, oh, is this your spouse to Annie? And it's just some random old man who's standing behind her. That gag alone is funny. And then this makes it even funnier. Jake, talk to us about, it's really a monologue, right? The nuclear bomb monologue.
No, definitely. And I think this line is so funny for a few reasons. First of all, you learn that she's in the government and knows all the codes to the nuclear weapons, which I think is just so irreverent, something that you don't expect, but that in itself is Megan. And I think it's such a beautiful scene where there's this one line where she says, Annie, you're your problem, but you're also your solution. And it is really fitting for the whole movie, which shows that Annie is kind of her own self-saboteur, putting herself in bad situations. So when finally something good shows off, like Officer Rhodes, she runs away from it because she doesn't ultimately love herself. That was deep. But also, I just think it's fucking funny. I love the way that she delivers it, and quickly is like, after she tells the secret of knowing all the codes, she's like, don't repeat that. And I just think that Melissa McCarthy, this was such an amazing role for her. We knew her before in Gilmore Girls, but this role really catapulted her. And after this, she was been in Spy. I'm sorry for writing that. She's had some really great roles. And I definitely think that although the other quote, I could go either way, but this one just makes me laugh more.
I will say I have not stepped foot in a shopping mall since listening to this movie and not thinking, there's probably nuclear bombs underneath this. Kevin, which wasn't it going to be for you?
Yes, I will say this. Whenever I listen to our quote episodes, I'm like, that's a monologue, y'all.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call y'all out for it. That's not a quote. It is something I don't quote. I think it is hilarious and it is great. I literally said on Friday, I am a 5'2" gentleman. There was a very tall man at the bar, and I said, I'm going to climb that like a tree. And I say that on the regular. It is a quote I hear a lot of gay men say as well. I'm going to climb that like a tree. So that's where I'm going. I say it all the time. I use it in everyday life. It is something I steal. Thank you for that. And it is just a funny moment because I actually like what Jonny said about Megan and her being like such a sexually open person. And I like what they do with her character around that. So that's what I'm going with.
Jonny, did you want to say something?
And Kevin, did you climb that man like a tree?
Too early. I was, but he was flirting with me, and he had an alien shirt on. He had Sigourney Weaver holding the cat, and I said to him, this was my line that I used. I was like, if only she weren't in that bra and panty holding that cat. And he goes, I wanted that on the shirt, but I couldn't get it. And I was like, all right. And then we lost each other, sadly. But he was very tall and handsome.
You got to plant that seed when the seed's meant to be planted. And I mean that in every possible way. All right. I actually will go ahead. And I think Kevin's point, and we are guilty of this in many of our quote episodes. So I agree with you, Kevin. There's a difference between quotes and monologues. The other one is, in fact, a monologue. If I was just reducing it just the quote, which is, I know where all the bombs are, I have all the codes, it's not as funny as the climb him like a tree. So I am going to go ahead and move that one forward, but I've never ordered an Orange Julius since without thinking that at any moment a nuclear missile could come through the floor. So thanks for that, Bridesmaids. Finally, in round one, the majority of the panel finds Annie's impromptu Spanish lesson muy interesante, but I prefer Lillian's charming assessment of her bridal party. I'll go first as Lillian. To my bridesmaids, this is such a stone-cold pack of weirdos, and I'm so proud. Jonny, play Helen, trying to get Annie off the stage. Kevin, play Annie, attempting to conclude her toast. Jonny, go first.
That's it for tonight. Thank you all for coming. Dessert wine is out. Consuelo?
Speaking of Consuelo, Lillian and I took Spanish together in school, and so I want to say to you and to everyone here, gracias para vivar en la casa, en la escuelas, en el azul mercada. Tienes con vivir en las fatualas and gracias.
Honestly, there's no argument here. The Spanish quote should 100% advance. And I don't know what I was thinking, so we are going to move that right into round two. And that's the end of round one, folks. We're going to take a quick break and head down to the country club to watch Carol attempt to play doubles. I've seen better tennis playing in tampon commercials. We'll be right back.
Want even more great pop culture debate in your life? We're talking behind-the-scenes shenanigans, hot takes fresh off the press, and all the pop culture goodness you can handle. Then you absolutely must follow us on social media. Get your daily dose of debates, polls, and hilarious commentary on all the latest trends. We're on Instagram and TikTok at Great Pop Culture Debate, and we've joined the Blue Sky Revolution at gpcd.bsky.social for even more in-depth discussions. So, whether you're team hashtag pineapple on pizza or team hashtag Die Hard is a Christmas movie, join the conversation. Follow the Great Pop Culture Debate on Instagram and Blue Sky and TikTok and all our other socials too, because the debate never sleeps.
And we are back for round two of our Best Bridesmaids Quote Debates. Before we get into the Elite Eight, I want our panelists to share their social media accounts, what else they're working on. Jake, do you mind going first?
Sure. My social media accounts are jtesu, that's my middle name, _. That's for my Instagram as well as my threads. I do not do X anymore. Currently, I'm working on myself, and that's about it.
Which of the, are you on Blue Sky by any chance?
I am not yet.
Okay.
But I need to migrate over there.
Come and find us on Blue Sky. Of the bridesmaids, which one do you identify the most with, Jake?
I think I identify most with, I guess I would say Rita, just because I have this new tube top and I want to cut the tags off, and I love having balls on my face, so for those two reasons alone.
Yeah, boy, that speaks to me on a very deep level. Jonny, what are your socials? What else are you working on? And which bridesmaid do you most identify with?
I am Jonny Minogue, one word, no H, like Kylie and Danny. I'm on everything. I do use Twitter, but mostly for X-rated reasons. And I am on Bluesky, but I have an issue with my passwords. I'm having some issue logging in, so it's there. It's just I'm not doing anything with it.
Okay.
My other projects. I work Tuesday night every week hosting trivia at Club Cafe in Boston. Come and visit us.
Fabulous
at
host.
clubcafe.com. It's thank you so much. We got some theme ones coming up this year. And I also, once a month, with my friend John Whitney, host a radio show at WZBC Friday nights from 7 to 10 p.m. WZBC.org or 90.3 in the Boston area. And my character, I think I identify with Megan the most. She's just being unapologetically yourself, and that's the person who I want to be, and I feel like I do to the best that I can. Except for the dogs. Don't have the dogs.
I've seen him lift his leg way up high in a bathroom door do you want to get in on this? Come on, let's go. It's actually quite impressive.
It is. It's quite, especially my heels, which I'm wearing right now.
That's right. Kevin, why don't you tell us, where can people find you? What else you're working on? And which bridesmaid do you identify the most?
Yep, you can find me on Blue Sky at Nightwing 23. I love that everyone in Astoria, and I live in New York City, and people will be like, oh, it's Nightwing. Which I love that. I'll take that as the biggest compliment. Means I probably have a good ass.
I was going to say America's ass, ladies and gentlemen.
America's ass, yeah. What am I working on? Right now, working on a lot of stuff for us around like Oscars and award season. We are peak in the middle of that. I've definitely written up some stuff about Oscar nominations. Maybe write something up about the Grammys, which are happening tonight as we record this. I'm already a little nervous about some of the winners. But we'll see how that goes for us as a culture. And then working on getting a job because I'm unemployed. Yay, 2025. I guess this tracks. The character I relate to the most is Annie. I'm a little bit awkward. I'm a little bit blunt. I'm a little bit of a mess sometimes, but at the core of me is thoughtfulness and sweetness. And I am an inner saboteur with relationships. But I would love to meet a handsome Irish man. Not a cop, though. No, thank you. Sorry, just not a cop. You can be Irish.
I hope in the meantime you do have unsatisfying sex with John Hamm, because someone has to.
The Hamaconda, baby.
The Hamaconda.
Throw it at me.
Absolutely. Thank you. So the best place to follow us is Blue Sky at gpcd.bsky.social or at gpcd on Mastodon. You should also make sure to subscribe to our page on YouTube, where we're posting original video content about monthly. But what you really need to do right now is to sign up for our weekly newsletter, new every Tuesday at noon. It tells you about everything new in pop culture that week. Sign up by finding the link on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or via our link tree on any of our social media accounts. I identify the most actually with Lillian because of the number of times that I've shit in the street. So let's move on to round 2, because, oh my God, there's a colonial woman on the wing of the plane. There's something they're not telling us. She was churning butter. I think we have another couple of unanimous decisions to kick things off, but let's double check. First up, it's Rita's I cracked a blanket in half rant versus I love my new asshole. And I believe the panel is 100% on team cum blanket. Is that correct? Johnny, yes?
Yep. We're cracking this bracket.
Jake?
Staying with the cum.
Yeah. As in life. And Kevin, whose name on this recording is Stove, where are you?
I am also cracking that blanket.
And listen, I love a bleached butthole. Who among us does not? But also, in this economy, that's what I have to say. Forget the price of eggs. I don't even think the Kardashians can keep up there. Keeping up with the Kardashians' butthole bleaching regimen, it's too much for me. Next, I believe the panel is unanimously on board with evicting. We would like to invite you to no longer live with us from the bracket and to move forward Megan's bridal shower fight club plan. Jake, you sticking with the fight club?
Yeah, I want to beat the shit out of her.
Yeah, amen. Kevin, what about you?
This is, again, one of those times where I will kind of do that, go against my, like, little rubric. The Fight Club it's just such a funny moment because, like, we're going to beat the shit out of her. It's just so funny.
She won't forget that. What about you, Johnny?
Yeah, I'm going with Fight Club just for the reason, as much as I love that Bryn, I hate Matt Lucas so much. He's the worst character in everything. He ruined Bake Off. He didn't ruin the scene, but I can't push anything that he was in forward when we've got Fight Club.
It's so funny because I used to feel the exact same way about him. I've softened over the years, but no, I had a visceral reaction, and now he's arguably the least problematic of the two in that sequence. But
fair, but I can't. I don't know. I can't get over. He just makes my skin crawl.
I get it. Well, we will be moving the Fight Club into round 3. Next, the majority of the panel wants to move forward the vowel movements inspired by Megan's bowel movement, but Kevin wants to keep Annie's high-flying antics into the final 4. Kevin, tell us why Help Me, I'm Poor is still rich with potential in this bracket. Jake, tell us why you're still hot for lava. Kevin, please go first.
This is a tough one. Again, these are two things that I guess I have said, and that's unfortunate in some ways for the lava part. But I think it goes back to my argument in round 1, where thankfully I regularly say, help me, I guess, I don't know. Do I want lava flowing shit or do I want to be poor? I don't know. Both sound terrible. But I think for me, the help me, I'm poor is just something I say on repeat all the time. And again, to go along with that argument, it just is such a prevalent thing within popular culture where I hear people say that line all the time. I think both of these are fantastic lines, so I'm fully good with either of these moving forward. I want to rep for Help Me, I'm Poor because in today's economy, many of us might be soon. Thanks, tariffs.
It's so true. Here's my thing for you. Go to Taco Bell and see which one of those 2 lines you end up saying first. Jonny Minogue, where are you on this one? Is it going to be the lava flow poops or is it going to be Help Me, I'm Poor?
I'm going to switch and go to Help Me, I'm Poor. Ooh. I think Kevin had swayed me a little bit, and I think that I've just, in that scene, I've always felt this way. I feel so bad for the cleaning woman for the bridal shop afterwards. I have such empathy, and I feel bad, so I can't do that, so I'm going to go with Kevin.
Oh, get off the carpet. Get off the white carpet.
Get off the carpet.
Jake, what about you?
Originally, I was going with the lava, but I think Kevin did a really good job with his arguments, and I did get swayed. But I think that the Sings a Goner is still a great quote because it shows that a comedy led by all females, they can make a poop joke as funny as the next guy, and I think that's important in this industry. And it was very commercially successful, and so. As funny as that is, I do agree with Kevin that I do use the Help Me, I'm Poor more often, and it's something that I see in memes and just pop culture more often. So I have been switched to that.
Yeah, the thing I will say about the whole lava situation, that whole sequence is not so much about the writing as it is about the performances, and it would not have worked if it wasn't Melissa McCarthy on that sink with the bridal dress hiked up around her skirt, just screaming into the void. That was what made it funny more than the actual line. So we'll go ahead and give it a clean sweep. Help Me, I'm Poor is continuing into the final 4. Finally, in round 2, it's a split decision between Annie's attempt at bilingual toasting and Megan's knee-jerk come-on to a random party guest. Kevin, why do you want to keep climbing with Megan's tree quote? Jake, see if you can get Annie to vivir in el soporte. That's bracket in Spanish. Jake, please go first.
But again, this is a really tough one, but I think that this line, and technically I guess we can all agree that it is part of a monologue, but it is just so funny, because she is speaking in Spanglish, words that, clearly aren't Spanish. But I also think that, it's just a great, the scene is really great, but I could be swayed to the other as well. So it is a toss up.
All right. Well, with that being said, Kevin, talk to us a little bit about the climbing the man like a tree quote.
I think Annie was a little bit of a soothsayer and saw Amelia Perez before a lot of us and used some of that broken Spanish that Selena Gomez speaks. I will. And I will drag that movie to the day I die. It is a bad movie. I like both of these, and like the Gracias para Vivar and La Casa is like the one of the few exceptions in the like monologue category I went with, and I think between these two, they're both great moments. With that said, the I'm gonna climb him like a tree is, again, it goes back to that moment where like this movie is not about the men. right? In a way, like the one man who speaks or has an active role in this is John Hamm, and he's not credited. Which is like one of the very interesting and cool things about this movie. But yet these women still talk and own their sexual experiences. And I think that's what makes this movie so good, is like, this is a movie about women living their lives, owning what they're doing and doing that, and to go into it in a deeper way or mode. The I'm Gonna Climb Him Like a Tree is also just so horny. It's great to see like the horniness out there for women, because we rarely see that in like a really authentic lived way. And I think Kristen Wiig blends what works with this and the writing is both of these lines are incredibly awkward. They're like so weird and wild, but I'm Gonna Climb Him Like a Tree is just too funny to not move forward for me, because again, as a short king, I climb many trees.
He does. He knows the forest and the trees, and he's climbed a couple trees that were named forest. But I want to say, in 2025, we need horny women now more than ever. Go get it, ladies. I don't care what you're fucking, you fuck them. That's a political statement. Johnny, where are you on this one?
I do appreciate the pre-Duolingo Spanish thing, because I think anyone who has Duolingo, I do French and Irish. French is a little bit better than Irish, but I appreciate that trying and it's not working. But that being said, climbing him like a tree. Like, I'm 5'11", almost 6 feet tall. I will still climb in like trees, because that is something that we all do. We all can feel anyone who has had anyone who's taller than you or even shorter than you, because you could have a little bamboo tree that you want to climb. So that's what I'm going to pick.
Squirrel's got to get that nut, honey. The Para Vir Vir and El Casa reminds me of when I took Spanish for like 10 years in high school. And if you ask me to say something in Spanish now, it's the like, ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? Like that type of ridiculous awkwardness. But no, I'll give it to Climb the Man Like a Tree. I just think it's funnier. With that, we have our final four. We're going to take a quick break before Ted drops us. This is number 3. We'll be right back after these messages.
Good evening. I'm not Barbara Walters, and this is the Great Pop Culture Debate. In the ever-evolving landscape of pop culture, are you finding it difficult to keep up? The debates, the trends, the opinions, it can be quite overwhelming. What if there were a way to stay informed, to be in the know, without having to wade through a sea of information? I invite you to subscribe to the Great Pop Culture Debate newsletter, a curated collection of the most compelling discussions, the most insightful analyses, and yes, even a few controversial takes. Delivered directly to your inbox, it's your essential guide to navigating the fascinating world of movies, television, music, and more. Join us, won't you? Let us explore these cultural phenomena together. Subscribe to the Great Pop Culture Debate newsletter at greatpopculturedebate.com. Because as we all know, pop culture, it matters.
And we are back with the final 4 of our best bridesmaid quote debate. At this point in the show, I always like to take a step back and see if it shook up the way I expected it to. I also like to add that no matter which option wins, we're celebrating all of these entries, and I hope nobody gets salty about what comes next. I don't see that happening on this particular debate. The stakes could not be lower. The issue I think that we have reiterated off recording is that there's so many good quotes in this movie that if there's any bummer, it's that there weren't more that we were discussing, because there's so many great quotes. It is Rita's semen all over everything versus Megan's female fight club. Annie's help me I'm poor versus Megan's I'm gonna climb him like a tree. I want to start in the middle of the pack with Johnny. Rita's there's semen all over everything versus Megan's female fight club. Which one are you gonna go with?
I think I will go with the semen blanket. It's the one that I not necessarily say all the time, but I definitely the one that I remember the most, and it definitely has something that any man who has had that moment knows exactly what she was talking about, and even for your own self feels like okay, I'm creating fabrics that are going to be shattered, and it's such a visual, and I think for someone who doesn't have a penis, this is like even grosser. So I just love it. It's like whenever I think about the movie, that's the quote I think about. So I'm going to move Rita and her blanket. to the final.
Jake, is it going to be semen-covered blankets or female fight club? This actually sounds like a great Saturday night to me, by the way.
No, it truly does. I think that I am going to stick with the semen blanket. As Johnny said, just the visual of it is so funny, and it is so relatable how kids can really be assholes and terrorists. And there is another quote later on from Rita where she's like, "The other day my son says, I want a pizza for dinner. I said, no, honey, we're not having a pizza. He says, Mom, why don't you go fuck yourself? He's 9. And I think Wendy McLevin-Covey has such a wonderful delivery of that, and everybody, again, can relate to disrespectful kids. And I love that that's how Annie first meets, that's how we first meet the character. It's hysterical, so I'm going to stick with that one.
Great. Kevin, where are you on this one?
I cracked a blanket in half. I think, Jake, you made a really good point about Wendy McLendon-Covey's character, Rita, and I think you're like, okay, it's mom character, but it's like the dark, funny mom things that they deal with, that they explore with her and her quotes. And that one, why don't you go fuck yourself? It always fucking cracks me up. And I mean, I think Rita is low-key one of the quote machines of this movie, just because she just really is great. And I love having her in a final 2 personally in this movie, because she's so funny. So that's where I'm going.
Yeah, she kind of becomes like the third wheel or the fourth wheel, because it's Annie, it's Lillian, and it's Megan. And so like the other 2 are kind of off doing their own little thing, and they're great together, but they don't get as much screen time as the rest of them. And I remember watching this movie and being like, okay, go back to Rita. She's so fucking funny. I will make it a clean sweep for the semen covered blanket. The fact that women wrote this movie and included in this detail of how gross teenage boys are, that was so accurate. Like, it's insightful and hilarious, and it's so early in the movie that it shows you exactly the level of humor you're going to get. It's very, very strong. Finally, we have in the final 4, Annie's Help Me I'm Poor versus Megan's I'm Going to Climb Him Like a Tree. Jake, can I get your vote first?
Again, this is a really tough one because I say both of them so often in multiple contexts, but I'm going to go with Help Me I'm Poor. I just think that Annie's delivery of it, how often it is said and referenced in pop culture, and just that whole scene on the airplane, I think is one of the funniest scenes, not just in the movie, but in all comedies just ever, period. I love when she gets caught before. She's like, it's not me, it's Mrs. Iglesias. She is just hysterical. That entire scene in the airplane is comedy gold, and I am going to go forward with that one.
Kevin, where are you on this one?
I am also going to go with Help Me I'm Poor, because I submitted a lot of quotes from the airplane sequence. A lot, maybe too many. And again, it shows my bias in the movie. It is a sequence that I could watch. I love that she does pills and drinks scotch and essentially gets ripped and like just gives this whole kind of persona where she's like slinking through the curtain and trying to get into first class. The other line we didn't talk about, again, we could talk about 20 of these. Oh, Helen knows the owner. Oh, you do? Oh, big whoop. And she makes the jerk off motion. It's oh, Helen knows the owner is probably also one of my most quoted lines from this movie. And so in honor of the plane sequence, Help Me I'm Poor just has to move forward.
Thank you, Johnny. Is it going to be Help Me I'm Poor or I'm going to Climb Him Like a Tree?
I want to say climbing like a tree, climbing like a tree, because that's something I do say. However, just for the fact of that little snippet from Kevin about that sassy intern at the Department of Ed, like I'm actually okay with either one. I'll go with Help Me I'm Poor because I don't want to create a tie situation if that's what you're gonna pick, Eric. So let's just go with Help Me I'm Poor, even though I would love to have a Megan quote go into the final 2, but I'm okay with that.
Oh, it's not gonna be Ty Honey. I'm 100% going with Help Me I'm Poor. And we didn't even discuss at any point the girl that Annie is sat next to in Coach, who is, I had a dream last night that we went down. You were all in it. And then I need to go to the bathroom real bad, but I read about some woman who sat on it and she got sucked right out of the plane. Like, it's just so stupid.
Isn't she like Barb Orstar from Vista Del Mar, like that character?
Is it Annie Mumolo?
That's Annie Mumolo.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, who is the woman who looks like a cross between Nira Vardalos and Nikki Blonsky?
That's exactly who she looks like.
Yes.
Yes.
And I was like, she's not either one, but she looks like both.
Yes. It is such a, she's hilarious in a completely like nameless role, but fucking incredible. I'm giving it to Help Me I'm Poor, giving us a final two of Rita's Semen All Over Everything versus Annie's Help Me I'm Poor. I feel like those two things could be connected through Marvin Johnson, who's been blowjobbing for crack. But I want to start in the middle with Kevin. Where are you?
I am Help Me I'm Poor. Again, I'm going to show my bias in all of this, but I just think... Again, it's something I say. It's something I think about. It is just a funny and iconic line that I know people say and repeat, and it permeates pop culture.
Jonny Minogue, Help Me I'm Poor, or is it going to be Semen All Over Everything?
Help me, I'm poor.
The Oliver of it all. Excellent. Jake, what do you think?
I am cracking blankets in half left and right. I am sticking with semen-covered blankets. I just think... Yes, do I say "Help Me, I'm poor" more often? I do, but I think that line is just funnier and was so like unexpected, and that's why I'm going with it.
The better written, more creative line is the semen covered blanket monologue. It is. However, in a like cultural perspective scenario, especially at this moment in history right now, where it is literally, I ordered 2 burritos from Chipotle to be delivered last week, not with guacamole, and it was $70. Help me, I'm poor. It speaks to us as a nation, as a culture, and for that reason, I'm giving it to it. And also, I'm booking a flight to Japan right now, and I would love for my 14-hour flight to not be in coach. Do you have any idea how much it costs to fly out of coach to Japan? It was $6,000 per person. Help me, I'm poor. Yes, that's right. I'm going for it. And there you have it. Our pick for the best bridesmaid quote is "Help me, I'm poor." Do you agree? Do you think we should have consulted Stove for his take? Tell us how you really feel by leaving a comment on this episode at greatpopculturedebate.com or find us on Blue Sky or Mastodon. While you're there, make sure you subscribe and follow the podcast so you can hear about what new debates are coming soon, vote in open polls, and even decide which topics we tackle next. I want to say thank you to my panel. You were all truly outstanding. And thank you for listening. If you loved what you heard, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can get even more exclusive content and you get episodes a whole day early. We hope you have a good one, and remember, everyone is entitled to their wrong opinion. And you know what? We shouldn't even be making decisions because civil rights. This is the 90s.